Hello, hello. Hey guys. Happy Monday evening to you all. It's so great to see everybody here. We have a lot to talk about. I'm trying to straighten my shirt because, that's what we do. Just home from work, and this is our usual Monday Night Live. Welcome to those of you who are on YouTube. Welcome to those of you who are on Facebook. This is a conversation for us all, but in particular, I want to say a few things that I really want those who are unvaccinated to hear. I'm going to give you a little love hug right now. This is a loving conversation. There is no browbeating that's going to happen. There is no condescension. I am not going to yell or scream or do any of that stuff. I can promise you. But as you can see, the title of this is 5 Things Unvaccinated People Should Know. I titled it a little bit differently on YouTube because I wanted to kind of see, but this is the idea. These are really 5 things I do want people who are unvaccinated to know. So I hope that you all share this video, that you watch this video, that you comment and you let me know what you think. Not only those who are vaccinated, but in particular, those who are unvaccinated, which of course we know is a pretty decent amount. So I'm Dr. Jen Caudle, practicing family physician, on-air health expert, and video creator. Let's start with the first one. First thing is we know that people are unvaccinated for different reasons. And of course, we're talking about the COVID vaccine, guys, right? That's what we're talking about. But not everybody is unvaccinated because they don't want the vaccine. Some people are unvaccinated because they like the vaccine, but they are actually afraid of needles. I haven't done a video on this, but I do hear every once in a while, and sometimes more often than not, that people are really just kind of afraid of actual needles. And you know what, guys? That is completely real. That is a true thing that happens a lot with people. And so I guess the first thing I wanted those who are unvaccinated to hear is that if you are unvaccinated in particular, because you're afraid of needles, I want you to feel heard and I want you to feel seen, because I see you and I hear you. As a family doctor, I have plenty of patients who feel this way. In fact, I have one patient and he has such a problem with needles and getting blood drawn that I actually have to schedule him for a day to come in, because we do blood draws in our office, right? And the phlebotomist will draw blood. She's excellent. We actually have to schedule him to come into the office and actually set him up in an exam room in the back, not in the lab. And the phlebotomist will actually come to the exam room so he can be lying down when he gets his blood drawn to make sure he doesn't pass out or things like that. What I'm trying to say is needle phobia, or being afraid of needles, is very, very real. If you are unvaccinated because you are afraid of needles, well, first of all, I'm here to tell you that there are different situations and things we can do to help. Now, there's no way to get the vaccine in your body without sticking you with the needle, okay? And I'm not going to say that too many times, because sometimes even saying things like that can evoke a sense of sort of lightheadedness in people. But what I will say is that oftentimes we can work with you. Maybe instead of going to a mass vaccination center or site, maybe you want to go to a place where you can be in a room with just the doctor, the nurse, the healthcare person, and just get the vaccine in private, number one. Be able to be lying down or in a comfortable area, have the people that you need with you, etc. And I'm saying this to give you some ideas, hopefully. Please don't and I hope that being afraid of needles doesn't keep you from getting the vaccine, but just understand, if that's you, it's going to be really important that you seek out the environment that makes you most comfortable. If your doctor is giving the vaccine or elsewhere, let them know, hey, I'm super, super afraid of needles. They probably already know that. And talk with them about what you can do to kind of be more comfortable. And also bring a friend, a family member, someone who can hold your hand, that can literally cover your eyes or whatever you need. So for those of you who are not vaccinated because you're afraid of needles, please don't feel like you're not being seen or heard, because you are, okay? And there are things that we can do. All right. Let's say, let's shift gears and talk about the second thing that I want those who are unvaccinated to know, okay? It's come to my attention that there are some people who maybe didn't want the vaccine for a period of time. And now with the Delta variant and things that have been changing, are saying, wow, I really need to get this vaccine, which, by the way, is the truth, okay? But you might be afraid of changing your mind. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean, there can actually be a little bit of peer pressure and a little bit of sort of, bullying or sort of that type of influence that can happen among those who are unvaccinated and vaccinated, right? All of us in our certain camps can actually be a little bit of bullies. And I say this to say, I had a patient who I was talking to her about the COVID vaccine. I said, I was going through the chart. And I said, hey, did you get your COVID vaccine? She's like, and I said, well, what's wrong? What's on your mind? What are you thinking? Like, what's going through your head? And she goes, I really, really want the vaccine. But she said, my husband is really, really against it. And I'm afraid of what he would say if I got the vaccine. Now, that's not exactly the same as being afraid to change your mind, but that sort of goes along with it, sort of this concern about either peer pressure from external sources or feeling peer pressure within yourself, feeling as though you've had one stance the whole way through and you may feel guilty or kind of shamed to change your mind. Even though I feel, and so many of us feel, that getting the vaccine is clearly the right thing to do, there may be a little bit of cognitive dissonance or a little bit of like, oh gosh, what do I do? By actually changing your stance. It's not always actually easy to change stances, especially with something that has been literally as polarizing as COVID and these vaccines. And, I understand when I talked to this patient, she was worried about what her husband would say. She was worried about, I guess, retaliation in some sort of way. She was worried about judgment. She was worried about, I guess, some sort of negative response from the people that she loved. And I think it was also a change for her to actually change her mind. So for those of you who are unvaccinated because, well, you haven't figured out how to navigate this, you've been in the I don't want the vaccine camp for a long time, and now you actually want it. It may feel scary to go out on a limb and to do something and to say something and to sort of be something that you hadn't been before. And if no one else has told you, let me be the first to tell you, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay. It really is all right to change your mind. Just because you might have said all throughout you don't want the vaccine doesn't mean you can't change your mind and say, gosh, I think this is something I really need to get. And I want to give you permission to do that because I feel like that's one conversation we're not having a lot. And I would also say for those of you who are out there, because again, I'm talking to my vaccinated folks and my half vaccinated folks and my unvaccinated folks. For those of you who are unvaccinated, what I ask of you is what I know you ask of those of us who are vaccinated. Nobody wants to be browbeaten. Nobody wants to be shamed. Nobody wants to be persecuted, to be bullied, to be treated poorly or badly because of our decisions, even if we don't agree with them. So what I would ask of those people who maybe are unvaccinated or what have you, or don't agree with vaccination, is please don't persecute those around you who choose to get it. The same thing goes for those of us who get the vaccine. It's not right for us to browbeat and to shame and to bully those who don't have the vaccine. I think it's a little bit of a tendency, right? We feel so passionately about it. And those who are unvaccinated, because they don't want to feel passionately about it. But the truth of the matter is, we have to be kind to one another, even if we're on different sides of the aisle, literally, figuratively, metaphorically speaking. Kindness is really important, okay? Because whether it feels like it or not, we still are all in this together, don't you think? So for those of you who want to change your mind, I'm here to tell you it's okay to do that. And I'm also here to ask for those people around others who are changing their minds or want to get the vaccine, if you don't agree with that, please allow them to do what they think is right. Please don't bully people for getting it. Especially if you don't want them to or don't feel like it's right. Allow them the choice that they allow you. All right. Now, the next unvaccinated situation is the unvaccinated, those who are not vaccinated because they can't get the vaccine, right? Told you I was here to represent all our folks. Oftentimes we say unvaccinated people are running the pandemic, and I've said it too. I'm not going to lie, I've said it, right? But we also have to distinguish how and why people are unvaccinated because it's not all the same. So let's say that you're unvaccinated because you cannot get the vaccine. You may want the vaccine, but your doctor has said, and many of you have commented, you said, my doctor said I can't get it. Okay. You can't get the vaccine for underlying health reasons, for medical condition reasons, because you have certain allergies, you have whatever the situation is. And we have a lot of folks that are in that boat. It's tough. It's a tough boat to be in because those people who can't get the vaccine are really sort of at the whim and the beck and call, so to speak, of the rest of us to make sure we get it to help protect them because they can't get it. So you say, well, what can I do? I mean, what can I do? I can't get the vaccine. Well, what I would ask of you all, of course, is in addition to masking up and doing all that kind of stuff, which of course is anyone who's unvaccinated, I would also ask you to encourage people around you to get the vaccine, which you might already be doing. But what does that do? That in turn helps protect you, which in addition to wearing your mask and social distancing and stuff, may be all that you're able to do because you may not be able and can't get the vaccine. Okay. So that's for those who cannot get the vaccine. I think we're on number 4. Okay. So let's talk about those of you who are unvaccinated because you're afraid of some of the things that you've heard. Okay. Some of the things on social media that you've heard on blogs and chats and all sorts of stuff. Let's talk about that, right? Because many people are unvaccinated because they're worried about what they're hearing and what's going on. So let me go rapid fire through a number of myths that I've certainly talked about in a number of my videos. By the way, if you guys are new to me, please make sure you like and follow my page because I do daily COVID videos, health videos, etc. And all of these videos, I go more, all of these things I'm about to say, I go more in depth about and sort of give more reasons and explanation. But let's talk about the myths, okay? So if you're afraid of getting the COVID vaccine because you've heard that the COVID vaccine can cause infertility or make it difficult for people to get pregnant, women to get pregnant later on, or interfere with childbearing. So that is a myth, which is awesome. I don't have children. I hope to have a child perhaps at one point, and I got the vaccine, and I know pregnant women who've gotten the vaccine. I recommend it for pregnant women. I recommend it for non-pregnant women and men, etc. But the vaccine does not interfere with fertility. It's very important to know that. I do a video on it where I talk more in depth about that and even go into, there's been myths around that the COVID vaccine impacts the placenta and other things. Not true, okay? What about if you've heard that the vaccine causes vaccine shedding? This idea that some of the virus will be shed. Well, that can't and does not happen with the vaccines that we have. They are not live virus vaccines. You do not need to worry about vaccine shedding. It's a video actually I posted recently, so you can check that out. If you're worried about the vaccine changing your DNA, well, you are in luck because it does not do that. Got videos on that too, but it does not get into the nucleus of the cell. It doesn't kind of get in there and change stuff up. Okay. That's not how these vaccines work. Okay. That's very important to know. It's really just a matter of science. And that's not how this works, which is a good thing, of course. Next thing, many people are saying they don't need the vaccine because they had COVID. Well, it is true that if you have COVID, you may have some sort of protection. The truth of the matter is we don't know how long you'll have protection and how strong that protection will remain. The best and the most robust protection that we know to offer is those offered by the vaccines. It's very important that you still get the COVID vaccine, even if you've gotten COVID. That is a talking point that's used by a lot of people to justify not getting the vaccine. Oh, I had COVID. No, you actually still need the vaccine. Okay. And remember, I'm going to do a video on that soon. I haven't done that video, but I'm going to do it soon. Moving on. That the vaccine is experimental. That you've said, I don't want to get it because it's experimental. I have a video on this too. And by the way, guys, it's not experimental. It's been studied so much. And it's got emergency use authorization by the FDA. And the applications, some of the applications have been submitted or in the process of being submitted for the FDA for full approval. Guys, these are not experimental. They have been and continue to be tested. And remember, at this point, millions of people have gotten these vaccines. That is not the definition of experimental when millions of people have gotten something and received something, okay? And the last thing is that there are long-term effects of the COVID vaccine. I just did a video on this not too long ago and posted it because a lot of you said, well, I don't know the long-term effects of the COVID vaccine. I don't know if I want to get it. The likelihood that there are any side effects at all, if any at all, that occur after 2 months. I say 2 months because that literally is a scientific cutoff that we have, because throughout the ages, vaccines that we have had all throughout the ages, if anything were to have happened or were to happen, it has happened within 2 months of the person or the people getting the vaccine. This concept of long-term side effects where we think of, or we're worried about something happening years and stuff down the line is really not a concept that we believe is viable. It's actually one of the reasons why the FDA requires at least 2 months of safety data before a vaccine company can submit for authorization. Okay. I did a video on that as well. Okay. So just please understand that. And then, so that's that. So please don't buy into the hype and buy into the myths. And I guess the next thing I would say, and the last thing, again, we've gone through the reasons why people are unvaccinated. We've talked about those who are afraid of needles. We've talked about those who actually want to get the vaccine when they hadn't and might be afraid of changing their mind and afraid of the retaliation from people around them that may come with changing their mind. We've talked about people who can't get the COVID vaccine because of underlying medical conditions. We've talked about those who are worried about, concerns that are out there, myths that are running around the internet. The final thing is I've been hearing a lot, and Sabrina, you ask, is that 2 months after the first one, that would be 2 months after the completion of the series. Okay. Many of you have said to me, I don't like the idea of control or government control or the idea of some agenda. I think for many people out there, being unvaccinated is a sign of independence, maybe a sign of bucking a system that is feared to be controlling or have an ulterior motive. That's the sense I get from many of you who comment on my posts, and you tell me how you feel, and you're very vocal. And there's a lot of things that I hear that something about the vaccine is in and of itself a conspiracy, is the sense I get from some of you who are unvaccinated, that you don't trust the vaccine. You don't trust the government push to get us vaccinated. But of course, it's your right to get vaccinated, and that somehow getting vaccinated actually is a bad thing. I hear this a lot on my videos. And what I'll say to that is, you're right. It is your choice to get vaccinated. Although what I will say is that what's happening now, more and more, we're seeing a lot of organizations and companies, et cetera, mandating vaccines. Now, of course, you don't necessarily have to take it, right? You can leave the job, et cetera. But of course, what we see is that stakes are becoming higher. Okay. But do you have the choice to get the vaccine or not? Yeah, you actually do have the choice to get the vaccine. You're exactly right about that. And I'm not going to take that away. Now, regarding sort of this idea of conspiracy theories and that it's a government something and it's about control, there's a couple things I want to bring up, okay? Number one is, I hope that we are all seeing what's happening with TV commentators, politicians that are both Democrat and Republican. There are people on both sides of the aisle and TV pundits, et cetera, on both sides of the aisle that are now starting to come out and change their stance in what I would consider as a good way. Whereas once they might have been very vocal about not getting the vaccine, there are many people on the right as well as on the left that are now saying, when they hadn't before, hey, go get this vaccine. And if you don't want to listen to me or other people, you may find some of these people to be role models or people you listen to. Listen when they say and when they change their tune about the vaccine, listen to that. Take that to heart, because many people have been changing their stance. To be honest with you, I've actually been surprised at some, but I'm thankful. So if you don't want to listen to things that you feel are conspiracies or controls, there are people on other sides and different sides that are actually starting to say that the vaccine is a good thing, and maybe they hadn't. Please listen. The other thing I would say is that please understand that there are people and bots and companies out there, organizations, that their sole job is to create misinformation. Now, one might argue that that's what I'm doing. It's not what I'm doing. I am a board certified family physician. I see patients. I have a license. I just was seeing patients today. And what I'm telling you is factually sound. But just like I'm saying that there's information out there that is like categorically false without question, you might look at me and say, well, how do I know you're not categorically false without question? Right? Right. And so what I would say is that what I want everyone to understand is that there are companies, people, organizations out there that literally make money off of creating lies, that make money off of creating doubt, that make money actually off of clicks and shares and reads. And the more salacious the topic and the headline, the more clicks and reads and views and all that stuff will happen, and that equals more money. Now you might say, well, Dr. Jen, who's to say you're any different? Let's go there. Let's talk about this, right? I mean, I do these videos all the time. And some of you say, well, why do you do these videos? Well, I do them because it's in my heart to do them. And the truth of the matter is, you guys may not know me, but I've been doing TV for literally almost 10 years. I've done about 200 to 300 TV segments for the last, 6 to 8 years. And I still do a lot of TV, but I do more of my own content, which I never started doing my own content actually before the pandemic. I do content because it's in my heart. I was doing this before COVID. I was just talking about other things. This is who I am, in addition to seeing patients and teaching residents. And you may ask, do you get paid off of this? Well, first of all, guys, we don't get paid when we go on TV. It's a fact. Unless you have a TV contract, which I don't, you don't get paid by going on TV as a guest. At least I don't. Okay. Do you get paid off of videos? Well, for most people for many people who have decent sized followings, which I feel like I'm blessed to have, if you're able to have ads on your videos, yes, there is a revenue stream. But that's no different than YouTube or other places, people that make money off of TikTok and things like that. The point is, my desire to make videos is not rooted in passing on misinformation. I want to be very clear about that. My desire has to do with my desire to spread information outside of the office, which is what I've been doing for years. You just may not have known me, but now we're meeting each other, so hello. So I haven't changed, and I'm no different. And I didn't pop up during this pandemic. I've been here for a little while. So please understand that as you consider the source. As you see random articles and things from different places, I need you to think twice. Where is this coming from? Well, what makes them an expert? Think about it. Okay. And the last thing I'll say about this, which is the concept of, those who are not getting the vaccine because you're afraid of, concerned about government control, conspiracy, obviously it's your right to get the vaccine or not, et cetera, et cetera. What I would say is what's happened is something that's become quite paradoxical. For those who have chosen not to get the vaccine because you don't want to be controlled, what's actually happening is what I would imagine is the exact opposite of what you probably ever wanted. By not being vaccinated, by not wearing masks, being unvaccinated, if that's you, by not following social distancing or whatever, you've actually helped to create a situation where government control really is a thing. That is the mask mandates that are being put back in place. That is, I don't want to say lockdowns because that hasn't happened yet, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if some things were restricted. What's interesting is the very thing that for those of you who have fought getting the vaccine and following these measures because you don't want someone telling you what to do, you've actually helped contribute and create the situation that's going to require you to comply with certain mandates to even do things. For you to walk into a CVS in many places, you're going to have to wear a mask. This is exactly what you were telling me you didn't want. So my question at the end of the day, is, wouldn't it just be better to get the vaccine? Now, I kind of wish I had a better phrase. I kind of wish I had something more pithy and profound to say after that pregnant pause I just made. You probably were expecting something a little more profound. I think I was too. I think I was hoping for that, but it didn't happen. But I guess, doesn't it kind of come down to, if your freedoms are going to be taken away because you're not getting vaccinated and you maybe have not been following social distancing guidelines and mask wearing, then why don't you just do those things so that freedoms will be put back in place? It's just a thought. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to be very serious. I think one thing I miss in all the conversations I see on the news and stuff like that, which I'm part of the news, on the news, but I'm often talking about get vaccinated, it saves lives, and I keep going, and it hit me tonight. I was like, why do I keep talking from that same vantage point? Let's talk about maybe from the vantage points of those who are not getting vaccinated. I don't know. You'll let me know. Let me know if this was helpful. Let me know if there was anything in this that you found valuable. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Let me know in the comments. I want to know, have you gotten vaccinated? I always ask that actually almost every time I come to you guys. But have you gotten vaccinated? Put your favorite emoji in there. Let me know. Yes or no? Do you plan to get vaccinated? Have you changed your mind about vaccination over time? Do you feel more strongly even about not getting vaccinated if that's how you felt before? I want to know where you're at because I want to know, but also because it helps me try to reach you. Not just those of you who are unvaccinated, but honestly, everyone. As I said in a prior video, we're not actually enemies. We're actually on the same team. Doesn't feel like it, does it? I know it doesn't. It feels like we're against one another. It feels like we're on literally opposite teams. But the truth is we're not. We're in the same boat. When mask mandates get put in place, we all have to wear them, regardless of what we think about masks or vaccines. When things shut down, it shuts down for all of us. I just want us to start acting like we're on the same team. And if there's something that I can do to help you make your decision, help you get vaccinated, I want to do that. So I guess I just want to stop in and say hello. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. I just want us to all end up alive at the end of this pandemic. I don't say that lightly either. Okay. Let me stop in and say hello. There's a lot of you on tonight. It's so good to see you guys. And by the way, those of you who've sent stars, I so appreciate you. You guys are awesome. You can find those right underneath the video. And I so appreciate you guys sending stars. By the way, after the live, I will respond to you guys personally, and I'll give you a little shout out and thank you guys for the stars. Also, I'm wearing my vaccinated shirts. I know you guys are like, what doctor sells t-shirts? Well, a doctor that likes to give a portion of the proceeds to charity, that's who sells t-shirts. And a doctor who loves like spreading joy and pride about the COVID vaccine. I have these in all colors. You can find those at drjencaudle.com/shop. It's in the description of this video on YouTube. And then of course on Facebook, there's a pinned comment where you can find it. Many of you are writing that you are on the fence. Maybe you're not quite sure. I see a couple of you say that you've gotten your first vaccine, you haven't gotten the second. You are my people, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm hoping that this might help you. If you haven't gotten your second vaccine, go get it. You're halfway done. And if you've made it halfway, well, doggone it, you can make it the other half of the way, and then it's done. It's over. Easy peasy, right? Those of you who haven't started getting your vaccine, well, you can get it. And by the way, there are many states right now where even though there may be low vaccination rates and high rates of COVID, the rates of people getting brand new COVID vaccines for the first time is actually higher than the national average, which tells me there's hope, which tells me that we are responding appropriately to this idea that there's COVID running crazy around this country and that people are like, oh crap, I better go get vaccinated, which, by the way, is the appropriate response. So I love it. I'm hearing some of you say, I was against it for a long time. I saw Whoopi Goldberg, Al Sharpton get it. It changed my mind. I'm glad I did. I love this. So keep sharing your stories in the comments, because you know what? Your comments are helping other people. For those of you who are on the fence, if you don't want to read it from me, read it from other people in the comments and find out what changed their mind. Find out what got them off the fence. Ask them a question. My friends are your friends. Also, make sure you join my group called I Got the COVID Vaccine. It's in the description on YouTube, but also in the pinned comment here on Facebook. Go ahead and join. Make sure you put your email address in to get my free newsletter. Yes, honeys, yes. But that's a place where you can ask questions. It's a place where we celebrate when people get the COVID vaccine. Whoop, whoop. It's a place where, if you're like afraid, if you have anxiety, we are there to support you. So please make sure you join that group. I Got the COVID Vaccine. Guys, you know what? We're going to get through this. I have said it all along. I'm going to keep saying it. Okay. I am not going to stop. Just know that I love you guys. And I just want us all to be healthy. So again, thank you for the stars. Thank you for joining me tonight. I feel like a talk show host. Thank you so much for joining us today. But really, truly. And let me know in the comments what you think about what I said, whether you like it or whether you don't. I know you'll tell me. If you've not liked and followed my page, please do on Facebook. If you've not subscribed to my channel, click the little bell on YouTube. I hope you do. Guys, I'm Dr. Jen. Love y'all. Talk to you soon.